Hello everybody and welcome back, and right now let us see how we can implement our keylogger in our backdoor. Now in order for us to do that, we need to actually specify the keylogger in one function, so we don't actually code too much in our backdoor. So what we want to do is actually code in our keylogger program a function that will call all other functions. So if I open my keylogger.py, let me just remove the keylogger.txt and nano keylogger.py. Right here, we can see that this part right here, which is with keyboard listener, actually calls the report function, and then it also calls the keyboard listener.join function, which actually listens for our keys right here. We also have the on process keys right here. So what we want to do is actually make a function that will perform this code right here. And once we make that function, what we will do is basically just call that function from our backdoor once we import our keylogger in our backdoor. So just type here, for example, def, and then let's call it start, which is the function that will actually start our keylogger in our backdoor. So we don't specify anything in that function, we just place this code right here in that function. Now, in our case right now, we do not want to call this function anywhere in the keylogger code. Since we will not run this program, we will just import this program as a library into our backdoor, and then we will use available functions from this program in our backdoor. What we will specify is the program name and then .start, and this will perform this code right here, which will perform these two functions. So let us see what else we need to change right here in order for this to actually work. So we have the file right here, so let me just specify it right here. Now the next thing we want to do is actually hide this keylogger.txt, since if we run our backdoor on desktop, this keylogger.txt folder or file will actually be saved somewhere on our desktop. So what we want to do is actually open this keylogger in a different path, so path, and the path will actually be a variable that we specify right here. So we can use the global path, or we can actually code it right here, it doesn't even matter. Path equals, and then in order to specify the path to the app data, the same as in our backdoor, we need to import OS right here in order to find the actual app data environment. So what we need to do is use the function called OS environment. So path will be os.environ app data, which is the same that we use in our backdoor, which will basically save our keylogger.txt at the same folder, and we need a name in order to name it, and let's call it keylogger.txt. We need to specify this in between these double quotes, so this will be our path, that is where we will save our keylogger, and all we need to do right here is use our global path variable, so global path, and specify it right here. This will open that path every time for the appending, and then from our backdoor we can actually open that path as well and read from that file and send its contents back to us. So I believe this should be it right now for our keylogger. Now before I do anything, let me just specify this to be, for example, 10 seconds. You can put this here any number you want. Basically this is just seconds at which point it will write the contents of the file for us. So let us actually see how this will work in our backdoor. So Control O to save. And right now we need to make sure first of all that our keylogger.py program is in the same directory as our reversal.py, since we will not be able to import it if it is not. And right now if I just go here nano reversal.py, I will go right here and import my keylogger. Now I also need to import threading, since I will be running our keylogger on a separate thread, so we can actually continue to run our program while our keylogger is actually running. So what I want to do right now is basically go to my else if statement, and let's say the command, we use the same command, or not the same, we will use something different. So let us go first of all to our else if statement. Let's go all the way down after the check for the administrator privileges. Let us code another else if. So else if command, and then for example first 12 letters equal to keylog start. If a user types this, basically what this will do is it will actually, let us see what this will do. So it will start our keylogger. So in order for us to do that, let us just type here T1, which will stand for thread 1, and what we want to do is actually specify the function that we want to use, and the function that we want to use is basically our keylogger.start function. So T1 equals threading.thread. This is the syntax for using a thread on a separate function, and in there you need to specify the target, and the target is basically the function that you want to run as a separate thread, and our function will be keylogger.start. I believe that is how we named it. So all we have to do right now is actually start that function, or pardon me, start that thread. Right now we actually started a separate thread which will actually open and record the keystrokes on target PC. So we imported the threading, we imported the keylogger, and everything should be good to go right now, I believe. All we have to do is also code the server side of the code. So let me just check once again. We start our keylogger. Let me save this and nano the keylogger so I can see if everything is well. Then the keylogger will go to the start function right here. It will go to the report. It will open a file at that path. It will open this file right here, which we need to code and specify in our reverse shell as well, so we can actually delete it once we close the reverse shell. And that is basically it, I believe. So let us actually go right here, back to our reverse shell, and once the user specifies, for example, let me just find it, specifies Q, before we actually break for the out of the program, we need to type here try deleting, so os.remove the path, which will specify right here. So path will equal this. Let me just find this part right here. Oops. Location keylogger path underscore path equals, or basically just equals this. So paste this part right here. Then we want to delete this, and keylogger path will be this part right here. Then we want to actually delete that part in our keylogger after we specify the Q option. So delete keylogger path, and that's about it. Except, I'm not really sure if you continue will work. It should work. So accept continue and then break out of the program. So it will try to remove this keylogger path, or basically our keylogger.txt, from the roaming folder. Now if it can delete that path, that means that we didn't even start our keylogger with our reverse shell, so it will just continue and break out of the loop and basically close the program. So all we have to do right now is code another else if statement, which will basically, with this we only started the keylogger, and now let's see what we actually have to do in order to get, basically in order to read what the keylogger has said. So we will use something as similar as in the Metasploit. So keylogger dump, which has 11 letters I believe, equals to keylog underscore dump. Let me just count, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if the command equals to keylog dump, what we want to do is open basically, so fin equals open well, let's call it just fn. So fn equals open the keylogger path. So we want to open that. For reading, and basically we want to reliable send underscore send the fn.read, which will send the contents of our keystrokes that were saved into keylogger.txt file. So this might actually work, or it might have a bunch of the errors. I'm not really sure, so we will have to check that out. What we did code is to remove the keylogger, so we will first of all see if everything goes well. So all we have to do right now is actually code the same part right here, or same command right here in our server side of the code. So let us save this and nano to this server.py right here. And let's see what actually has to happen once we type here keylog.start and once we type here keylog.or dump. If I just go right here, we will code something like same like this. So for the keylog start, since we don't receive anything for the keylog start command, let us code the same thing. So else if command and first 12 letters equal to keylog_start. All we want to do is continue with the program, so we don't get actually bugged out at this right here. So we will try to receive, and with the keylog start option we don't receive anything from our reverse shell, so it will actually crash our program. So we want to code a statement right here, which if we specify keylog start, it will continue and it will go back to this shell right here where we can input our next command. And for the keylogger, else if command first 11 equals keylog_dump. Oops, let me just close this. We want to reliable, or actually we do not even need this part right here, since we will actually do it with this command, which is for any other statement right here. So we do not need to code anything for the keylog dump. Let us delete this. We don't need it. So this should be good, I believe. Let us try to compile our reverse shell. But let us first double check it once again. So let me just zoom out, since it is easier to navigate through code once the code is in lesser format. So let me just see. We delete the path, which is good. If it doesn't exist, we continue with this and then we break out of the program. Then what we want to do is actually, let me find where the keylog start is. So here it is. We start the thread for our keylogger.start and we read the contents from that file for keylogger_dump. So let us see if this will work. So let us just actually compile this with the wine root wine drive C Python, same command as before, scripts by installer. Let's just use here, for example, just the reverse shell and then one file. We do not need the image for now on. We will do a full test of our backdoor later on. Console. And let us see if this will compile well enough. So what this should do is once we specify the keylog start, we don't get anything received back, but we should have the keylogger in our app data roaming folder. And everything we type there, it should be printed out in the keylogger.txt folder. So we will see how that will work. For now on, let me just plug in my USB drive. Let us go to the devices, import our USB drive right here. Then I want to go to this right here, move my reverse shell to the media root and then Kali Live. Then once it finishes, I can actually unplug my USB drive and run our shell. Now I'm not really sure why does it take so long to copy the file. Did we import it? So we did import it. Places, computer, Kali Live. So it can't load the Kali Live for some reason now on. Let's wait for a few seconds for this, maybe it will work out. If it doesn't, we will have to compile it once again. So let me just check this out. Why doesn't it work? So we can't even close this program, so let me just close it like this. Let's see if I go to media, right here, zoom in this a little bit. I will remove this reverse shell, so I will go to the root, Python programs, reverse, and I will compile my program once again. But I need to delete this, build, delete the reverse shell spec. Now let us run the same command for compiling our reverse shell. Now let us try to copy it once again to our Kali USB drive. Not really sure why it doesn't work. So it completed successfully. We go to dist where our reverse shell is and we move the reverse shell to media root Kali Live. Okay, so it copied it good right now. Let us unplug the USB drive so we can use it on our Windows 10 machine. And all I want to do right now is run my server. Cannot assign requested IP address. Yeah, this could be a problem, so we might actually need to compile it once again. Since our IP address is no longer the .1.9 as in the previous video, it is actually .1.7. So make sure to check that before you actually compile the program. Your IP address, if it is not static, could have changed. So what we need to do right now is do the same is in the reverse shell as well. So let me just delete all of these files from the previous compilation. So let me just nano reverse shell and change my IP address once again. Now, sorry about this, since we compiled it 3 times, I thought I had the same IP address, but I apparently didn't have it, so I will need to compile it once again. Plug in my USB drive. And right now, everything should be good to go and we should be able to run the program. Finally. Or we will get another error and we will need to fix something else, but that is the part of the coding. That is why this is actually the advanced section, since we actually code ourselves and not use tools from other people. So let us move the reverse shell to media root Kali Live. It copied the program. We clear this, run the server. Listening for incoming connection, so we specify the good IP address, which is our IP address. And right now all we want to do is run the reverse shell.exe. We get failed to execute reverse shell. So not really sure why do we get that. That means something is wrong with our reverse shell in our code. So let us see where is our mistake. So this part right here, whoops, let me just find it. This part right here where we continue should be actually good. Keylogger part, path. So everything should be good to go. Keylogger path equals OS environ app data plus keylogger.txt. This path right here should also be good. So let me just find what else we coded which doesn't really work. Now it could be this path right here. That we need to specify something differently. So let's see what we actually need to specify. So let me just go right here. Sometimes the order of the libraries could be a problem. So let me just try to import threading first and then import the keylogger. Now this might not have anything to do with this, but it is always a good thing to try. We try to connect to the good IP address. Okay. Then we specify everything right here. Keylogger start, t1 threading.thread. Then we use the function keylogger.start. So let us code a simple program that will actually import keylogger. So, key error app data. So why is this a key error? Path equals os environ plus keylogger.txt. So we need to run this in a Windows system. So let me just see right here. We imported the OS, we imported threading. We use the keylogger.start to use this function right here. So everything should be good to go. So let's do something like this. We will just test out the keylogger for a second. So nano test.py. We use Reup in Python. We import keylogger, import threading, import OS, import PyInput. And what we want to do right now is actually only run this, so keylogger.start. Now let us see if I compile this. So let me first remove this right here. If I compile the program, which is test.py, so let me just find the same command as before for the compilation, and I will compile, instead of the virtual, I will compile test.py, which will actually perform a test just on our keylogger, and we will see if it actually is something that is wrong with the keylogger itself, or is it something that's wrong with the backdoor. Now this is how you can check if your program is working. So let's go right here. We go to the test. We move test.exe into media root Kali live. We unplug the USB drive. Let us now run the test.exe. So actually something is wrong with the keylogger itself. So let us see what is actually wrong. So nano test.py, nano keylogger.py. So let's see what we need to import in order for this to actually work. So what I will have to do is actually check out this error by myself, and then, so we don't waste time, I will tell you what the error was in the next video. So hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I see you in the next one, where we will actually see what is wrong with our program. Bye! Hello everybody, and welcome back. And I figured out what the problem was. It was rather a simple problem. All we had to do is actually install the PyInput library in our Wine Python folder. Now, we forgot to do that, so our program didn't work on our target PC, since our compiler didn't know what PyInput library was, and it couldn't execute any of those keylogger commands. That's why the program always crashed. Now, in order to make our program usable, you need to type here wine, root, wine, drive C, Python 27, and then python.exe, and then -m, pip install, PyInput. Now I already did this. This will actually install the PyInput library for our Wine Python, and now you will be able to compile the program and use this function in our keylogger. So let us double check all of our settings. So let me first remove everything. Remove dist, remove reverse shell, remove test spec, remove test.py. And right now, if I nano our reverse shell, right here we have everything the same as before. Basically the OS right here is removing the keylogger. Right here we have the keylogger start and keylogger dump, which is at keylogger start will start our keylogger. Keylogger dump will print out, or basically send, the contents of our keylogger.txt file, which is the keystrokes on our target machine. Then in our server we will receive this and we will print out in the screen. So let us see how that will work. If I just find the previous command for the compiling, here it is. So we want to compile it wine root drive C, Python 27, scripts pyinstaller.exe, reverse shell 1 file now console. So we copy this and we import our USB drive right here. We wait for this to compile, then we will transfer our reverse shell with keylogger, and then we will try to run it and see if our keylogger actually sends back the keystrokes on target PC. So we move the reverse shell.py. Whoops, not the reverse shell, we need to go to this directory. Then we move the reverse shell right here to the media root and then Kali live. So move it there. Once it copies the file, you can delete these directories right here, which are unnecessary, so they don't make a problem. And all we have to do is run our server, which will listen for incoming connections. Now we unplug our USB drive, and then we can run our program. So we run the reverse shell, we double click it, we wait for 20 seconds for it to connect back to us, and while we do that we can see we can see in our command prompt cmd, if we go to the app data folder and then to roaming folder and just type here dir, we can see right here we have the backdoor.exe, which is a copy of our backdoor for our persistence. We do not have the keylogger.exe, .txt right here, since we didn't run the keylogger yet. So since our shell has opened right here, let us see if we can execute regular commands. So who am I works, help command to print our available options. Now here we will have to add also the keylog start and keylog dump, just once we actually see keylogger works. And if I just type here keylog underscore start, we can see nothing really gets back. We see if we can still execute commands, we can. But right here, if I just type here dir, we can see right now we have the keylogger.txt file. And if I just type here hello world, what is going on, question mark, we can see in a few seconds, if I just type here basically in my reverse shell, if I just, in my server, if I just type here keylog underscore dump, we can see we'd actually get back what the user has typed. So who am I, dir, hello world, what, and then backspace is going on. So this is the what, and then I typed here s, and then I noticed that I made a mistake, so I deleted the s with backspace, and then I typed what is going on. So we can see our keylogger works. Basically it gets back to us everything that the user is typed. If the user types here blue, yellow, green, red, purple, white, we can see in a few seconds, if I just go right here and type here keylog underscore dump, we will get printed everything before as well as the new words, which is green, red, purple, white, and also blue and yellow. Just here I type here yellow, but doesn't really matter. So we can see our keylogger works successfully. So right now let us actually we can see also that the keylogger is in this directory right here, which will not be found by the users, also as well as the backdoor.exe for our persistence. So right now let us see what actually happens, or not what actually happens right now. Let us close this and let us actually nano our reverse shell.py and add our keylog start and keylog dump options in our keylogger. So let's add it right here. Keylog start keylogger on target PC, and then keylog underscore dump, print out keystrokes captured by keylogger. So we save this, and right now we should be good to go. We have a fully functioning reverse shell that can take screenshots, that can download, upload files, that can use a keylogger, that can download files from the internet as well, has a help option, basically can change its directory. So we have a bunch of other things, can check for the administrator privileges, starts keylogger, prints the outputs of keylogger. So This is basically all we currently need. So this is basically our final reverse shell. Now in the next video we will actually try to test it out as a real attack, so we will try to actually run it. We will also add picture and the image file and everything, the icon, so we will see how a simple attack with this works. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I see you in the next video where we will run the real attack with our reverse shell in order to check out all of its available options once again in a one final attack. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye! Hello everybody, and welcome back to our final actual attack with our keylogger and backdoor. So right now what we want to actually do is, before we run the attack, let us first of all delete the backdoor from our persistence and also delete the registry key for our persistence. So if I just type here dir at this directory right here, so there, and you delete the backdoor.exe, so we can actually fully run the actual, let me just see, access is denied. It could be because it's open already, so I didn't close the reverse shell previously, so let us see. Yeah, I have multiple reverse shells opened. Operation could not be completed. Sometimes it closes properly and sometimes it doesn't close properly. But that could be something with my Windows 10. It could also be something with the reverse shell, but we saw in the previous video everything works perfectly. We can execute commands, we can take screenshots, and so on and so on. So we want to delete now the backdoor. We check once again, there nothing is here, so we do not have the backdoor. And let's also delete the registry. So go to the regedit, administrator password. We want to go to the actual, not this part, we want to go to the current user, then the software, we find Microsoft. Right here we find Windows, current version, and then run, which is right here. We delete our backdoor, delete it. Are you sure you want to permanently delete this value? Yes, and right now, before we actually run our backdoor, we want to actually make a few changes so this actually doesn't look so suspicious. For example, we do not want to change our, or we do not want to create a persistence with a name called backdoor.exe. Let's call it windows32.exe, for example. Something that doesn't get too much of the attention, even if it is seen in a folder. So we change the location of the backdoor to be windows32.exe, but this also means that we have to change a few other things, such as, or we do not actually have to change right here since it specifies it as a variable, but what we do have to change is right here, keylogger.txt, let's call it, for example, windows.txt, or I don't even know, let's call it process manager.txt. Doesn't even matter, you can call it whatever you want, just don't call it keylogger, since if someone sees that, it will know that basically they have a keylogger on their system and then they will delete that folder. So we changed these two, but you need to know that if we change the process manager right here, or basically the keylogger.txt right here, we also have to change it in our keylogger. So nano keylogger.py, and right here we have to change it to be process manager. So they have to be the same. So let's see if anything else right here, nothing really like here. We have our keylogger ready, our reverse shell ready, and let's run the full compilation command with our image. So wine root.wine, then drive C Python 27, then scripts pyinstaller.exe, add data, and then we specify here root Windows, or not Windows by the way, root Python programs reverse, and then the name of our image. We after the image have to add the dot and the comma and then dot. So let me zoom in case you don't see it, but you should already be familiar with all of these commands. We ran it a dozen of times. And after that we want to specify the regular options, one file, no console, and we want to add the icon which we downloaded in previous videos, which is root downloads dragon.ico. And then all we have to do after this is specify the name of the file we want to compile, which is the reverse shell.py, and press here enter. So right now what we need to do is go on our USB, import this. Then once we import that, all we have to do is copy the reverse shell into that folder, and we will be good to go. So let us see how all of this will work. We will try out all of our available options in order to check out every option if it works correctly at the final project. So go to dist, move reverse shell to media, root Kali live, we copy the shell there, everything is copied, we delete all of the unnecessary files, and we run our server. So server listens for incoming connection. We now unplug our USB drive. We can paste it on our desktop right here. Whoops, bunch of programs opened. So for some reason right here it doesn't really have the icon, but it doesn't matter. We can see before we actually run it. If I just type here there once again, there is no backdoor.txt, there is no keylogger.txt. Right here in our registry, right here we do not have the backdoor registry. So let's run this in order to see what actually happens. We run the program. We can see everything works perfectly. It opens the image, so it looks legit. It really does open the image that the icon specifies. And right now, in a few seconds, we should be getting the shell back, and in a few seconds, we should also have the registry right here. So let us close the image since we do not need it. Now, if I just go right here and there once again, you can see right now, if I just go down here, we have something windows32.exe, which looks like a normal Windows program, and it will not get any attention by the users. Now, by anyone that actually knows all of this stuff, this will actually still be suspicious, but that is something we can't change. So we have the windows32.exe as our backdoor with persistence in our app data roaming folder. And we also have in our registry key, if we refresh with F5, we have once again something called backdoor, which we forgot to actually change. I will show you later on how you can change the name of this as well in the command. But the backdoor actually runs our persistence with this windows32.exe program. So right now, all we have to actually do, since we got the shell back, is execute commands. So who am I? -a. Let's try something else that doesn't really work. So if you just type apr-a, APR is not recognized, so we get the error. We type here ipconfig, for example, netstat, so we can type here basically anything, and we will receive all of these system functions back. But right now, let's see what are our available options. So we can see help, we can download path, download a file from target PC. So let's type here dir, see what we can actually download. We can go to some directory in order to download some other file. So let us see right here if we have anything to download. If we don't, it doesn't really matter. We already checked it out and it worked. So let us open this back. Let's see our other available options with help. We can upload, so upload a file to target PC. We can do that right away, so let us just create a simple file and let's try to upload it just to see if it still works. So cd python and then reverse nano upload.txt, or let's call it test.txt, doesn't even matter. Hello. We save it, then we go right here and then we try to upload test.txt. We see if we successfully upload the file. We can see test.txt is right here, says hello, so upload and download functions work. So we delete the test.txt since we do not need it, and you can see right now it doesn't exist anymore on target PC. Let's see what else we can do. Get URL, so we can download a file from any page. So let's see how we can actually do that. Let's go, for example, to our Firefox and go to some, for example, GitHub repository and see if we can download a file to the target PC from the GitHub repository. So let's try to download some actual, start new session, so some actual password lists to the target PC in order to check. So 10,000 password list. We'll go to some GitHub directory. This should exist somewhere, or basically we can download any password list we want, but let's just try with this. Scroll down. Let's see 10,000 password list at GitHub. So we go to the raw file right here in order to see the password list themselves. So just click here raw and specify this path right here. So copy. Let's see if this will work. So all we have to do is actually specify get and then the URL. So get, or let's actually see in which directory we are. We are at desktop. Let's make directory just for this file. So mkdir to make directory, testing download, cd to testing download. We can see right now we are in this directory right here that we created, and let's get and then specify the path. So we press here enter, we wait for it to finish. It says downloaded file from specified URL. If we go to our testing download, we can see 10 million password list.txt, which has those 10 million passwords, or 10, I'm not really sure. Apparently there's 10 million, but it doesn't even matter. We saw that this actually works. I'm pretty sure there are 10,000 here, not 10 million, but doesn't really matter. So our get function works. We can download any file from the internet to target PC. Let us delete the file. Well, let's not delete it, we don't really care. So let's type here help. We can see start program on target PC. If we just type here start notepad, start calculator, start explorer, we can see it starts all of these basically windows right here. So we can see it started explorer, started notepad, started calculator. Basically we can start files on or programs on target PC. Let us check the screenshot function. So screenshot, we just press there screenshot, and then we check if we successfully downloaded it in our directory. So just go to places, computer, in order to see if we downloaded the screenshot. We go to the root. Let me just find it. Python programs, so Python programs, reverse. And here we have our screenshot. So we can see we took a screenshot of our Windows 10 PC, which is basically just our Kali Linux machine. Since we are running Kali Linux machine on Windows 10, you can see it is Windows 10 by these icons down here. So screenshot function also works. Let us check out what else we have. So the next one is check function. So check user privileges. So we can see that we are running as user privileges and not as administrator. Then after that, if we just type here keylogger start, _start, so we can see before we started, right here there is no windows.txt for our keylogger file. We just type here keylog start. We type here there once again. We now have the, what was it called? What did I name it? Oh, I named it process manager.txt. So it created that folder right here. And now whatever we type on our Windows 10 machine, hello world, standard as always, and we just type here keylog dump, _dump. Well, basically 5 seconds didn't pass, so it only typed here hello or just hell. We just type here keylog dump once again, so keylog _dump. We can see hello world printed out right here. So everything works perfectly, all of our coded functions work, and you can actually continue adding some of the other functions you might need also in your program or also in your backdoor. We will finish it right here. So this is our final project. We tested out every function and it actually works. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of coding backdoor, and I hope I see you in the next one, where we will actually see how we can code advanced brute forcer, for example, for routers. Now for my router for basic authentication. Now I will show you what basic authentication is and how we can actually code it. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!